Nagaland is at the very eastern end of India. The Nagas are a collection of tribes. Our people go beyond the Indian border into Burma also. Northwest Burma is where our people are, and northeast India is where our people are. So on both sides of the border, and the people in that region belong to the Tibeto-Burmese family of tribes and ethnic nationalities. So some of our words are source is Tibetan, and our ethnic tribes spread right across Burma. The Kachins, the Chins, the Karens, the Kayas, and all these people you've heard of. And so it's an area where people look very much like us. So in Delhi, Bombay, I'm asked, are you Japanese or are you Chinese? Are you Malaysian, Burmese, all kinds of things. So that is we're different from culturally, racially, in our experience of civilization also different from the western part of India. But we became part of the British Empire in the 19th century when Britain was consolidating her empire in South Asia, which means today Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Burma. So that's how we became part of modern India and modern Burma. We are very near to very sensitive points of conflict between India and China because of Tibet. And we are also very, as I said, virtually a part of Burma, racially very much. And so I see that we must create a common stability which will benefit everybody. Otherwise, if we individually think only of our own aspirations, our own identity, which are very important, we can bring destruction instead of progress. So that is how I look at our crisis, and where I would like to help our coming generation to think more and more. In terms of defending our identity, yes, it's very important. Our aspirations, very important. But we have to learn to grow with our neighbors. Means we must create a wider stability for which everyone is responsible. I would like to concentrate on that. I think the secret I learned from friends from the experience of other friends, that what is wrong, you can blame others. But that is a very incomplete response to what is wrong. You have a share in the wrong, and therefore learn to face where you are also wrong. Then you find more clarity and moral spiritual authority, because that means you are truthful. And I learned, I think, from religion, and also from, say, the experience of a man like Mahatma Gandhi. He often talked of listening to the still small voice inside, which tells us what is right, what is wrong, and we are meant to choose to obey what is right and reject what is wrong. I think that is in every religion, every faith. But learning from the lives of people who were trying that inspired me that I too can learn that. And also I discovered that when you start that, you are starting a very big thing. You keep at it, and you begin to grow in it and learn to walk that path. It's a path. So that's how I have acquired over the years, and I don't see any other way that is good for me. when the Japanese reached Kohima, my hometown, I was 9 years old. So I saw it as a young boy. But what I've learned, and I know myself, that we found the British and the Japanese were fighting in our land, our forests being reduced to ashes. But from our people, I know that when the Japanese first came, by the time they had reached Nagaland, they had come very far away from Singapore, Thailand, Burma, where they had some control. So they had very short, the ration was very low. And so some of them began to take by force food from the villages. In some cases, a few cases, people reacted and killed them. And in some cases, Japanese also committed some violence. But I would say in Nagaland, very, very little. We begin to see the ancient history of the people there, their own separateness, culture, their own history, and how deeply they feel for their own identity. So this time the ongoing projects for the continuation of the base, and we ran into the protest groups who have been protesting, I believe, for 8-9 years. So these were surprising to me. But how deeply and how committed they were in their protest. I met a number of the protesters who said, I'm doing this, I'm quite old now, but I'm not going to let the wrong thing happen to my island for the sake of my children. I'm not going to allow. And I realized that was a very strong voice. And I said to myself, will that desperate cry from that man for his children, for his land, will that reach the conscience of the people on mainland Japan? If there can be a connection of soul to soul, maybe unexpected solutions will come, because it's a huge crisis from what I learned this time. Many facets of the crisis are there. And then also we saw the damage, the danger of damage to the ecosystem, ocean ecosystem. Well, we are far away from the ocean, but we are learning that the ocean's damage will cause damage to all of us. So that's where I said to the people, that's where we also have a share in your protest, and which everybody will understand. The world is aware of the ecosystem's crisis. So things like that we begin to understand. Yes, I have said to a number of friends that I've been to quite a number of nations, North and South America several times, Europe several times, different parts of Australia, the Pacific, and so on. That Japan is a nation where things have been solved carefully. Problems are examined carefully and solved by everybody, not just a few people. You get a sense that every Japanese feels responsible for what the health of their island nation should be. I feel that sort of thing, how we can learn from you, but that sort of thing is something Japanese can share with the world. How you solve problems instead of postponing solving them or expecting somebody else to do it. Our tendency is to elect our political leaders to become members of parliaments and state legislatures, and they say they will solve all problems. And the tendency is for the rest of the population to say, well, it's their duty. But here I find everybody is very responsible about the impact of their lives on their society. Now that may be a visitor's impression, but I have felt that. I think your people coming to understand our situation on the ground, meeting people who are the stakeholders, and talking to the people who are agitated. I think the understanding and finding out how you could give us concepts and ways and practices for solving problems. Because I think for communities like ours, emerging very young communities, how do we solve problems? I think it's a very simple but very fundamental need. And I think that's where your contribution can be very, very significant. But because you come from a situation where you have your understanding of how you have solved so many problems. So you can come in and say that this can be done this way. But if you come in without understanding us, there may be a reaction. But if you come in to understand us, and from our position, you may be able to say, this is how your problems can become your strength. We must make our problems our strength. Our problems are our most plentiful resource. I think the human, people-to-people understanding, and then out of that, people begin to share from their lives. That's what I believe.